had a competition on building software applications for social impact. And for that competition, Shreya and I, we both participated individually with our own unique passions. And we included AI in it to bring it to life. So what I did is I did a application which is study history in an engaging way. So this is the submission I did. You can go to this link. I will put the link into the description. This is to transform NCRT syllabus into a very interesting, immersive storytelling experience. And this
Yes.
app,
I love this app. I love the app. Matlab, you should see the output. It's very cool.
this app was actually inspired by Shreya. We both love reading books, and since childhood we both had read books obsessively. But in my school, history was never interesting like storybook. And for Shreya, opposite was true. Her POV was she learned history through you will not believe through books like Cruel Count and The Bored Bridegroom and The Blue Eyed Witch and the Etiquette Handbook.
Yes.
This is the context about how Shreya learned history, and from that perspective, I built the app. Shreya, tell your how you know history.
I know mainly history through story, which for me is basically gossip. So every love story is like just the scandalous gossip thing. So the more gossipy it is, the easier it gets to learn history. The more you can think like a character in that setting, the more interesting it gets because the history is not facts. Everybody just dilutes and flattens history. सब जूस निकाल देते हैं हिस्ट्री का सबसे जो रेत बचती है वो ऐसे रटा रटा के खिलाते हैं हिस्ट्री का but
Correct,
history
correct.
is
Yeah.
so fun.
Yes.
History should be read like and taught like a story, and that's how I learned it. I learned history by reading so many different love stories and fantasy novels, and then researching कि असली में क्या हुआ था. So I think what this learning history this way did is I did a lot of self research. Like self learning was a big part of why it felt so engaging. And school mein, it's not an engaging experience, at least when I was in school. So that's why I find this app so cool. I wish I had it when I was learning history. मेरी मम्मी के रोने नहीं निकलते.
This is the app I built. This was to targeted towards NCRT students, so grade 6 to grade 12. We type the topic we want to learn. For example, in this valley, I will type it here. And what it is going to do is it is going to transform the topic into a completely interesting story, which includes all the details from the chapter. So if let's say you want to study economics, you want to study trade, we want to study how Hadappa Mohenjo-daro cities is designed. Those are the facts. That's what they teach. But to make it fun, we build a story. Rather, we built an LLM which builds a story around this. Here we have a young woman named Tara who is an artist, who is a weaver, and she knits this intricate designs. We have a Ramesh who is merchant, and we have Devika who is a priestess. So you see, by having three characters from different backgrounds interacting with each other in the setting of Hadappa Mohenjo-daro, through this setting is how we learn history. This is the app I built using AI to make learning fun. It's the perspective which we brought into life by this app.
And I love how poetic it is. Like the year is approximately 2600 BC.
Yeah.
The sun beats down on the mud brick houses of Hadappa, a bustling city nestled along the banks of Indus River. Dude, this is better than that Ashutosh Gowarikar film, Hrithik Roshan wali. He could have just done this.
Yes, yes, yes. Definitely, definitely. So this was the app we built for Impact Challenge. I built from my interest, and this is to NCRT taking the whole technical development. And this was a project from 2 months of learning LLM. A total addressable market of this is more than 5-10 million students in India. It's one very important, it is very useful, and it makes education very fun. Also gives us a perspective of culture, which is not just because, let's say, right wing politics is highlighting culture. What I learned is by looking at the culture from economics perspective, from storytelling perspective, from philosophy perspective, you learn what humanity has been making mistakes and how humanity has been learning from those mistakes. So you learn history to learn from history, not repeat the mistakes. And we always keep complaining that there are some problems we are facing. It's as if we are the first ones to have faced them. And that's why this is
And
amazing.
that's what I think. The way this app teaches history is a very good way to also understand the evolutionary pressures of the time, because things don't just traditions don't just exist for no reason. They were developed under certain conditions and they have been carried, and now they look like this. But at the time, when you imagine yourself from a character's perspective, then you fully understand the context in which that culture formed. And that context, understanding the context, I feel, is where school education of history really misses the mark, and these kind of assisted apps can really fill the gap.
This is an amazing point. For example, here Hadappa Mohenjo-daro emerged because of the trade we used to have using some gems. Now, how would that impact the worker distribution? How did things evolve the way they did? What were the reasons? This is a logical question. It is an exploration. You are not recognizing, memorizing facts. You are rather finding them. You are looking at these things as a historian, as an archaeologist, as a detective, and you are finding these perspectives. And this is
Yes.
amazing. This goes way beyond remembering dates. This allows you to experience the time period, not just learn it. That was the app I built, and Shreya built an app on neurodiversity. Before we talk about the app she built, I want to give a context about how Shreya learned about this. When we met, Shreya found out she was neurodiverse, and since then she went on a proper tour of learning about neurodiversity. There was a degree on and from a UK university on neurodiversity. There was extensive research, personal research on ADHD, autism, and how it pertains, and learning to make sense of it. This is just this whole thing which you see here is every single note Shreya has written handwritten before time of Chat GPT. This is all the study of everything related to neurodiversity. So she brought all that thing into this app, all her experience to help neurodiverse people do self regulation. And this is how this app was built. Now I will ask Kiria to talk about it.
So the cool thing is that we actually, what I learned in the course about LLM fine tuning, I actually applied that knowledge to do two things. Like we created a custom data set for Pride and Prejudice in the series. I collated all of that research, the huge notes, and I actually curated a custom data set of the research. I included everything that typically is very hard to find, like research on female neurodiversity, or you know, or just casual queries on how to how to maintain hygiene, and just these type of questions and research that otherwise you might have that question and you might be struggling with that, but you wouldn't necessarily find it in all collated in one place. So my ultimate aim with this app, it was two things. It should aid neurodiverse research, should provide research resources, and secondly, it should also have research backed self regulation hacks and tips, which are like non medicative approaches to self regulation through various kinds of difficulties that most neurodiverse people face, no matter which part of the spectrum you fall on. So the I created this app because I have been doing not just theoretical research, but I also I'm doing, I would say, transdisciplinary research. So I like whenever I come across a technique, I try it myself. You have seen me through many meltdowns and a lot of difficult mental health phases, and I actually applied all these techniques on myself, and I just curated, this works, this doesn't work, this is okay.
So we have both
And
been
based
through depression and anxiety, and we have overcome that. We are both neurodiverse, and the struggle of living with neurodiversity, it's a strength if you know how to deal with it, if you know how to self-regulate. It's a weakness if you don't know how to self-regulate. And the
yes.
information needs to be found out, customized, experimented, and that's the whole experience. So our studies, our experience, our experimentation, all of that we poured into this app, and Shreya's research is what led to this application.
Yeah, and so right now I would still say this is like step one of what needs to happen. This is more like I've aggregated my research so far, and all the techniques that I think will work under, and also I have segregated by it. This will take 2 minutes, 5 minutes, just in case, like for example, if you're having a big panic attack or a big autistic meltdown, then it would not give you some बहुत सारा jargon wala answer. It will give you direct things to do. So this was the perspective. Since this was like an impact challenge, it wasn't a technical kind of जिसमें बहुत technical wizardry करना है. So हम गरीबों के लिए जिनसे ऐसे धीरे धीरे बन रहा है ऐप. I think this was a great hackathon to participate in, because it was focused more on the impact of the problem you're solving rather than how you are solving it. So it was actually really it was really helpful curating a custom data set, because then I also got to know, got to revisit my whole research. It was like a big revision, and now I have better ideas on how I would actually like to do the next steps and all, which led to the next project, which we'll talk about. But let's
Yes.
just
So this
take a
was
look at the
the
how this works.
this was
Yeah,
the second project. Okay. And
yeah.
how this works is like you sign in. This is an Gemma model fine-tuned on the custom data Shreya has curated. This is lots of data, research finding of different kinds of user problems, each classified into different categories, different situations. So this is all the domain knowledge. This is understanding which are the techniques which work, then annotating them so that when a user asks a problem, then appropriate technique which can fit into the available energy, time can be given. And the relevant research, if you want to understand yourself better, which researches are there. These are, it's like extremely detailed research questions, and the references, all of that was used to build this. So let me select on ADHD focus strategies and click next send. This will now think and give a reply. I've already gotten the reply, so then Shreya can now tell.
Yeah, so it's exactly like that. So there is a bunch of pre-made questions, that category you can click. The moment you click, it will ask that question, and this is the kind of answer that I feel that I have, like, we have trained it on, like, immediate focus technique. So it's focus on like immediacy, like the whole thing is designed to solve a problem. So the kind of solution it gives is focused on immediate, and then environmental modifications, and then what it's separately execution function support, and then medical support is there, but it's this is not a medical app, it's more of a self-regulation app. So that is the balance I have tried to strike, where if you are already on medication, this app you can use to also regulate yourself apart from the medications you're taking. So that was the POV. This will also, you can ask a research based question, it will also answer that. So that so far I've gotten here, but there is a long way to go in this research.
So
Yeah.
this was the stage of LLM fine tuning. After doing that course, this was the project. I built one for history study buddy for all NCRT students, and Shreya built one based on her research. She got them questions vetted from doctors, those who are actually practicing in this. And so this is the research back, doctor
So
back.
actually, this is the app. I can show the LL wo notebook LM ka, the one which I asked my doctor friends to check out, and they were like, "Yeah, this research looks legit. So this is a good research curation."
So this is that part. One of the stages is every single research paper which is relevant to neurodiversity. It has been included here. This research notebook has been made public. It has different mind maps. If you want to study each of these things, every single thing you can think. This is her 3 years of efforts condensed into.
Actually, yeah. So there are multiple nodes. Okay, the research, my notes are vast, but in this, what I've done in my public notebook is whatever. So if you see on the sources, there's reflection, reflection, reflections. So all of these are actually essays I have written after reading and digesting the research literature and etc. available from the degree I did, from the diploma I did. So um, it's basically the reason I've written Shreya Bhattacharya's Neuroscience Diversity Research Notebook is because these are my opinions and my interpretation of the research. And this is how, this is like one of the ways, like I got doctors to understand how I am looking at it. Is it aligned with the research available, etc.? And they were like, yeah, this is fine. So that was good. Thank you, Dr. Friends.